Hello everyone. This week I received an email from someone saying that there are all these ways that we can find happiness, all these techniques. There's so many techniques I can't remember them all. They become confusing. So what is the best way we can find happiness? While I can't tell you the best way to find happiness because that's a matter of perspective, I can tell you the fastest way. In order to understand the fastest way to find happiness, we have to understand the idea of ourselves as projectors. Many of you are probably familiar with the idea of a projector. They're the 20th century teaching tools, where an image is put over the lens of the projector, and the projector then takes that image and casts the image out onto a screen. So it'd be important for you to understand that this is all we're doing in the physical dimension. You are the projector. The world and the reality you are living in is the projected. Every thought you think, which could be related to the image that's put on the projector lens, is projected outwards, and that becomes your reality that you experience. It becomes your interpretation of that reality that you experience. So every time something's happening in your life, it's the result of a thought. Every feeling you have is the result of a thought. You can't experience anything that's on anyone else's screen, and no one else can experience what's on your screen. The only time that you would experience each other is if you're co-creating each other, and the only time you would experience a similar circumstance, it's because you are co-creating the circumstance or event. But your interpretation of that co-created event always remains different. There is no true reality to own up to. There is no external reality which exists separate of us, which exists separate of our observance. When we understand this, it's not important to understand what reality is. We don't need to become addicted to the idea of truth, because truth is subjective, and reality is subjective. So instead, all we do is choose the beliefs which feel good to think. We choose the thoughts which feel good to think. We choose the thoughts and beliefs which benefit us. Because really, if we create our own reality, why would we do anything otherwise? If you want to create a reality which you enjoy, and you understand that you are the projector, you choose thoughts and you choose beliefs which lead to an image which, when projected, you enjoy the experience of. Most of us who are addicted to the idea of truth are addicted to the idea because we think it will make us feel better if we figure out what the truth is. Most of us are addicted to the idea of truth because we don't actually believe we create our own reality. We believe that reality exists outside of us, and so the more we know about that reality, the more we own up to it, the less chance there is of us being blindsided by something that victimizes us. The less chance there is of us being taken by surprise and being really injured and not expecting it when we don't know all we can know about an external reality. That's the only reason that people fall in love with the idea of truth, is because they think it will make them feel better. So, if you would like to be happy, you can reverse this and cut out the middleman. Figure out what would make you happy to believe about your reality, and then your reality will change to match that. This is not Pollyanna thinking. That is the misunderstanding that people have about those people who walk through the world with an idea of think what you want to think and then you'll get the reality you want, is, oh, that's just Pollyanna. But is it really Pollyanna if we create our own realities? If we understand that that's the reality here, why would you do anything other than focus on the reality you want to have versus the reality which is currently sitting in front of your face? The reality that you have before you is nothing but the culmination of thoughts you've thought before. It is not true, it is not real. It is a hologram. A hologram which is the creation of the thoughts you have been thinking in your life leading up to this moment. If you don't enjoy the reality you're living in, you must change the thoughts you're thinking. If you enjoy it, then it's working for you. In spirituality, we don't need to get rid of the things that are benefiting us. Many of us are somewhat ignorant about what actually benefits us versus what doesn't. But we do eventually figure out what does benefit us and what limits us. But the only reason to keep something is if it actually serves your highest good. There is no reason to keep a thought or a belief which does not serve your highest good. The fastest way to find happiness is to question and alter your thoughts so that they feel good when you think them. The ending of your suffering has to do with questioning your thoughts. I can tell you personally that there is nothing that somebody can do to cause you pain. The pain that you're experiencing is not the result of the experiences that you're having. It's the result of the thoughts that you're thinking about the experience. If you were to get kidnapped right now, and if you were to be physically tortured, that physical torture in and of itself would not be the thing that's actually causing the pain. What would be causing the pain is the thoughts you'd be thinking about what they were doing. If you change the thoughts you're thinking, you change the meaning behind the experience, and thus you change the level of pain and the sensation that you will experience as a result of that experience. That is why pain to some people feels like pleasure. What some of us would think should feel one way would feel entirely different to another person because they've assigned different thoughts to that experience. They've assigned a different meaning. We can use this to our advantage when we're trying to create happiness, by understanding that if we change the way we're thinking about the experiences that we are living, the pain relative to the experience changes, and sometimes goes away. Another person may try to influence your thought, but they can't ever actually choose thoughts for you. You are the only one who can choose to think a thought, having been influenced to that thought. Your thoughts are absolutely untouchable. Even when you manipulate the brain and try to control the brain, you can't control thoughts, because thoughts don't exist in the brain. They exist beyond the brain. The brain is just an interface between thoughts and body. Ignorance is not the result of choosing to think what benefits you to think. Ignorance is a result of fully believing in your thoughts. Thoughts that are most often distortions. The most important thing you can do when it comes to happiness is to set yourself free from your own thoughts. I agree that there are many processes that you can use in order to free yourself from your own thoughts, in order to liberate your own mind and to find happiness. About 2 weeks ago, one of my colleagues came over, and they told me that they think that my teachings are very similar to the teachings of someone named Byron Katie. They asked me if I was familiar with Byron Katie at the time, and I said no, because I wasn't. But being the curious being that I was, I chose to look into her after that day. And what I found is perhaps the best process I've ever seen in terms of alleviating yourself from your own painful thoughts. For anyone who is interested in doing this, I would highly suggest using a process she offers called The Work. A detailed explanation of the work can be found in her book titled Loving What Is. It is a break with tradition for me to outrightly suggest a fellow teacher's process. But I know a good thing when I see one. I care deeply about those of you who watch this Ask Teal series, and if I find something that works, I'm going to tell you what that something is. There is no way to lead a happy life and to believe in your painful thoughts at the same time. Happiness is in the mind, because reality is in the mind. If you have a happy mind, you have a happy reality. Happiness really is all that we can project when we set ourselves free from our own painful thoughts. Because in the absence of our own painful thoughts, happiness is all that remains. Have a really good week.